I've had so many transformations in my life, and like I said, came from a very humble background, and I realized that if I can do the things that I've done, and I'm a really, like you, a hard-working guy, and I put all of myself into everything that I do, but I've been able to make these amazing things happen in my life. Like I got in incredible shape. I've developed this beautiful practice. Like all of these things. Like God, I wish someone told me that when I was a kid. Like that. So then I started like sort of like the Gary Vee model. I started posting to Instagram every single day. I started this podcast. I started a YouTube channel. I just finished my book, and it's been like sort of this 2.5, 3-year journey, and this is a big part of it. And the reason I'm bringing all this up is, when I was reading your book, it really touched me, man. It really did. I'm excited to read your other stuff. This is the first book of yours that I read. But I saw just this putting positivity into the world, and just, you cannot hear a story like yours too many times. And you never know that one, I get these DMs on Instagram, like some 16-year-old kid will send me a message and say, hey man, like, I want to be the first person in my family that's going to go to college, and I always wanted to be a doctor, man. And I always thought it was just such a nerdy thing being a doctor, but you make it seem so cool. And like, God, man, if you touch that one life in a positive way, and that's what it's about, man,
Well, I just feel like, when I grew up, I didn't have older brothers. I didn't have a dad. I had to learn a lot of stuff the hard way. I was telling my kids, listen, I learned in the streets, man. I learned how to play sports in the streets. I learned, get my butt kicked. I learned, the streets were my teacher. I said, so I'm trying to teach you guys, because you don't want to learn the way I learned, right? You don't want to, but my whole thing has always been that I always try to inspire one person. And it happens. People will DM me and they'll just say, man, I did Ed Milet's podcast. And so many people, even now, I did that like 8 months ago. Even now I get DMs, people saying, I just saw that interview, man. And I said to my wife, I had such positive feedback. I said, I gotta go watch that thing because I don't even know what I said. She's like, well, what'd you say? I said, I don't know. People were like, some lady said she was crying, and I'm like, holy cow. So I really listened to it. But I think that, like you said, I think that you just gotta be who you are. You know what I mean? I'm a guy who came up, listen, I wasn't in like an abusive, I didn't have none of that stuff. It's just that we were poor, man. We were poor, right? Like, I'd go home, we eat mayonnaise sandwiches. We take 2 pieces of bread and put mayonnaise in there and eat it, right? But so, I just think that if I can inspire other kids to want to succeed, particularly all kids, not African Americans, obviously, but all kids. I mean, because people are outsiders in life, you know what I mean? And there's so many kids that we lose, and young people we lose because they never have that inspiration, right? They're never inspired. And sometimes some guy may see you, or a kid may see you driving your car, and that can inspire him because he says, wow, a guy who looks like me is actually driving that car. Yeah. And that's why I'm always very aware when I'm public facing how I can be representing to someone who doesn't know me, right?